Here we go. All right. So we're going to get started. And thank you guys so much for joining me today. Sorry we had a little bit of a delay. I explained to everybody that I had an absolutely insane morning. My kids were, they got home like a half an hour ago and they're normally in school today. So here we go. Without further ado, I'd love to get started. So this is launching a business from a Facebook group, and this is the masterclass. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Hi, I'm Melissa Fasseldon, in case you don't know me or you haven't seen me. I, once upon a time, worked at a desk job, and now I work wherever I want, and mostly my work attire consists of yoga pants and sometimes it's PJs. So I'm like super happy where I am right now. I don't miss the cubicle life at all. And I'm going to tell you everything I'm doing, but at the end of this presentation, I have a special offer. As you guys know, I launched my course, and it's only for people who are on the webinar today. And I'm hoping this takes around 45 minutes or so, but we'll see how it goes. So, quick housekeeping. Grab a notebook because I do have a couple of things that you might want to take notes on. I would turn your phone off so you're not super distracted. And I know that's hard. I just turned mine off too, and get ready to give the masterclass your full attention. So I'm super, super excited to share this 8-step process for launching a business today. Now there's definitely, this is kind of the down and dirty, very short version. There's definitely a lot more to it than this, but this is going to get you started. Okay, so let's go. So just a little bit about me as an introduction so you guys can kind of get to know me. I was born this way. Like, I've always been super creative and entrepreneurial and independent, but I was also really scared to let those entrepreneurial tendencies out. And so they've been hidden for a long time. I'm a super busy person. I have 3 kids and a husband. And I have found that 2 parents in typical desk jobs can result in a life of incessant juggling, especially if those desk jobs are not super, super flexible. So I love having flexibility. So flashback to 2013. That is when I founded my Facebook community group initially. And I founded it because I wanted, honestly, just to have like a space where my friends and I could connect to easily share and give and receive information. And I started it because I belonged to a lot of moms groups at the time, and they were really helpful in the parenting sphere. But dads and people who weren't parents or weren't, parents of young children certainly had information to share as well. And like, not every topic you want to talk about with people has to do with kids, right? So at first, my goals were simple. I intended for the group to just be like for us, a group of small friends. I really didn't envision it being bigger than maybe like 100 people. I thought that would be huge, right? Where we could share all this information, like recommendations for plumbers and accountants, favorite restaurants, and general advice. So this is like groups of people for my town, my region. That's why I originally started my group. And I also really, really love connecting people. I get a lot of joy from connecting, knowing that connecting person A to person B can lead to amazing results to everyone. That gives me so much personal satisfaction. So the group, it grew really fast. It became really popular really fast. I think I had 100 people in it by like 24 hours after I started it. So it went from a forum for like just a few friends, and it quickly grew and grew and grew into a popular, indispensable resource for businesses and group members alike in my town. And I have tons of group success stories, like lots of feel-good stuff has happened in the group, ranging from lost and found kids' lovey toys in town to help finding last-minute Halloween costumes. One time my group helped a really sick child. My sister is a pediatric oncologist, and she was working at a local hospital at the time, and there was this little boy who was terminal, and he wanted a toy. He wanted this specific toy, and the toy was sold out. So we put it in the group. I actually have chills now. It was really lovely. We put it in the group that we're looking for this toy. All these people like came together, found the toy, and the kid got it for Christmas. One of us delivered it to the hospital. Like, it was just It was really amazing. The group also built 4 new playgrounds in my town. Another group thread began around these abysmal conditions of the playgrounds in the town. And from that thread, another group of moms got together and started fundraising and planning for 4 new playgrounds. 4 years later, those playgrounds have been completed and are enjoyed by children in my town. I mean, and they're beautiful. And it took 4 years, which is unbelievable. What I also discovered is I was seeing people who needed services constantly being connected with businesses who needed customers. This was happening every day, all day long. And it is absolutely a wonderful symbiotic relationship. Everybody was winning except me, the admin. Because even though so many great things resulted from the group and they made me feel so good about what I was doing, I was suffering, and so was my family. It's not all happy, happy, joy, joy in these admin groups, as I'm sure anybody who's watching this as an admin knows. So as the group grew, so did the drama. Like, smaller groups usually have a little bit less drama, and as the groups get bigger, there's just more people and there's more drama. So I would often spend hours and hours dealing with problematic threads. And I felt really unappreciated. In addition to participating in, nurturing, and daily maintenance of the group, I get a slew of personal messages and reported posts. And if you guys are admins already, you know 100% what that's like. It's just so frustrating because people feel like you're on call 24/7, and it's awful. I knew I'd started something special, but I also knew that being a Facebook admin was really hard work, and it was wearing on me. Because I didn't mind hard work, I just wanted to get paid for it. So I got to thinking, how could I get paid for my work? At the time, while I had this group started, I worked at Harvard University. I had spent nearly 20 years in marketing and web development, and I thought I had a very stable job with great benefits. But I was kind of uninspired. So in my spare time, I started building a side business. In 2015, about 2 years after I started the group, I put my web development and marketing skills to work and added a companion website to my group. I collected email addresses. I sent a daily email newsletter, and I gradually pieced together a business that would allow me to work from home and to work for myself. And then 6 months later, I was laid off. I was actually laid off from my secure job at a world-class university. And for those of you who aren't in the area, in the Boston area, it's very unusual to get laid off at a university. They reconfigured my department, and one day my boss called me into his office and he pushed an envelope across the table, and I was like, okay. It was crazy. I was so surprised. So the day it happened, I remember I left the building. I was like, can I leave now? Can I go home and digest this? And I called my husband, and being the good guy that he is, he tried to comfort me. So he said, don't worry, you're so marketable. You'll find a new job in no time. Like, great guy, right? Like, vote of confidence. But I said, I'm not upset. This is a quote. This is a real thing that happened. I think this might be one of the best things that ever happened to my career. Because my side hustle was doing really well. It was generating income in the first couple of months. I knew I was going to go for it, and it would be a side hustle no longer. I plunged headfirst into growing my business. I knew I had a great starting point, and I wanted to grow. I worked a lot. I attended webinars, I read blogs, I watched videos, I took courses, I participated in Facebook conversations with other admins, and I got a business coach. I worked long hours, and I made a lot of mistakes. There was so much trial and error. But I knew I never wanted to see a cubicle again, ever. So I figured out a system that works with all of my trial and error, my hard work, my mistakes, my wins, my losses. And now I truly have my dream job. Like, I'm in my dining room right now, and my kids' playroom, which is a mess, is over there. And like, I don't have yoga pants on today, but I usually do. I usually don't wear makeup. And you know, sometimes I don't shower till like noon because I don't need to, because I can do whatever I want. I can work from wherever I want. And that makes me really happy. So, drawbacks of being an admin. Being an unpaid group admin can be really, really hard work, as you guys know. In preparation for my course, I asked Facebook admins, what do you wish you had known before becoming an unpaid Facebook group admin? I was trying to get, honestly, like advice from people like, hey, maybe there's something I missed that I want to be able to put into the course or to put into the webinar. This is what I got back. The pay and bennies are terrible. The time spent administering it for free. It's a thankless job most days. Adminning would turn into a full-time job. How my alcohol bill would go up significantly. And I know like these are kind of downers, but it's really true. Like, there's so many drawbacks, and we do see so many benefits, but there's also just like, I don't know, sometimes, you know, we try to gauge if it's worth it or not, right? But when you're getting paid for your work, this is my quote, I love having the flexibility of working from home, on vacation, or literally any place with Wi-Fi. So how do you get started on your monetized Facebook group journey? If you don't already have a Facebook group, and there might be some of you here that are just like thinking about doing a side hustle, that's totally fine. You'll need to get that started, that group. And when you get that started in your group, or if you already have a group, turn post approval on. So I highly recommend this because it allows you more control over the conversation. It's particularly helpful if people try to advertise in your group, and it's because you can stop that advertising before it happens. So people don't even get like a chance, right? Now, I did not want to turn post approval on. I left it off forever. I was just really against it. I thought it would take up a ton of my time, and it didn't. Honestly, it's so much better. It's so much more with it. It doesn't take me that much time to approve posts. I'm the only admin in my group, and I know a lot of you guys have other admins and mods. I could always hire somebody to take care of this as well, but it's one of those things where if you try it, trust me, I feel like you're really, really gonna like it. And lots of groups right now have post approval on. Like, it's very, very common. So you might get a couple of grumbles if you have it off and turn it on, but I find that they die off quickly. Number 2, really important, modify your group rules. So now that you're monetizing your group, or even if you're just getting ready, or even if you're just thinking about it, quite honestly, you'll need to prepare your members for the changes in order to pave the way for paid advertising. And group rules are the place to do this. They can really help. Having common sense rules that are applied consistently and a diplomatic turn of phrase are the most important things for an admin of groups. That's from JW, who is a group admin. Be very, very clear in your rules about what's permitted in the group. So if no unpaid advertising is allowed, be sure your rules clearly indicate that and enforce them. Don't make exceptions. Announce the rules periodically, and or just pin them to the top of the page. And I definitely remind people of the rules like all the time. I think it's really important to be able to like constantly be like, well, that's not in the rules. Here's the rules. Here's the rules. Just as a reminder, you know, people forget, new people don't know. It's a good idea to remind people. Plus, people just don't read. Now, Facebook, as you guys probably know, only gives us room for 10 key rules, which I personally find is not enough for a monetized group. It's probably not enough for a regular group either. So you can create a Google Doc or a website and post the rules there, and then link to the full rules in your group description. And then paste that link to the rules wherever they apply. So one tip for this, which is not in this presentation, you might want to write it down, is So say you do this in a Google Doc, and you know Google Docs have that super, super long URL, like AKJ question mark, blah, blah, blah. You can take that, go to bit.ly, it's bit.ly in your web browser, paste that, sign up for an account, paste that super huge URL, and you get like a little tiny URL back from Bitly. So it'll have like, I don't know, like 5 characters or something. And then you can keep sharing that one. That's just an easy way to share the rules. I keep mine on my website, but if you don't have a website yet, that's like super, super handy. And then make sure you copy that Bitly link somewhere so that you have it on hand all the time. Consider conversations you'll allow. So you might also need to ban certain types of conversation that might result in tons of free advertising. So just to give you an idea, I don't allow leading conversations in my group from businesses. And you're like, okay, what's that? So here's an example. Say somebody posts, who's having trouble with their gutters right now? That's an example of a leading conversation. Or who really could use a house cleaning? Like, okay, I get it. You're not posting an ad, but you're totally advertising. It's a solicitation that the business can then follow up on. It's totally sneaky, and it is a hard no for me. I don't allow it. Don't be afraid to enforce your rules. Do you hear that, guys? Don't be afraid to enforce your rules. You're the admin. They're your rules. It's completely fine to enforce them. Okay, moving on. Number 3. Remember, this bonus at the end for you guys who hang in there. So modify your description. As you move to a monetized business, make sure your group description is 100% transparent. So for example, this is the companion group to Widget's business. And then you insert a brief description of the business. So it could be like in the description, this is the companion Facebook group to Widget's business. Widget's business is all about producing widgets for, I don't know, people, right? So that would be like an example. And you want to be super, super clear about how the business and the group are connected, because people get confused a lot and they get confused like very easily. All right, I need a water break. Okay. So make sure you modify that description so that it's clear, right? And be really, really transparent. Like in my group, let me just go back so we don't get confused. In my group, I make it clear that my business is for profit, because people sometimes get like really bent out of shape if they find out you're making money from them or thinking about it. It's so bizarre. Very entitled, but I'm clear about it. So I'm just like, listen, anytime you want to check out what this group is about, and anytime you want to see like what the deal is, you go to the description, right? I send people back to that. Okay, number 4. This is really important. I actually have a whole post about this on groupties.com in the blog section, all about mindset shifts. I think it's 5 mindset shifts. It takes a thick skin to be an admin. Like it really does. But it takes an even thicker skin to be a for-profit admin. Let go of needing or wanting all of your group members to like you. And like, I feel like this is way easier said than done. It took me a really long time to get to this point. I'm still not 100% there. I don't think I ever will be. Some people like you, some people love you, and some people totally despise you. Like, it is what it is. So whatever the case, you need to let go of the need to be liked or loved, right? When you truly move beyond this need, you're free from any constraints that can hold you back from monetizing. Let go of any need for approval by your group members for creating a business. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission to make this a for-profit business. Let go of any need for consensus or approval when you decide to create a business out of your group. You don't need that. Your group can still be awesome, even if one of its purposes is paying your bills. You do not need group members' approval for monetizing. You do not, you do not, you do not. You don't need to post a poll. You don't need to like post a big long, hey guys, like here's a big description and here's why I need to do this. Like if that's your jam, totally do it. But like, you don't need to do that. You do not need permission, and you don't need them all to like you. They're still your group members, right? Whether they like you or not. You deserve to be paid for your work. There is absolutely nothing wrong for being paid for your work. You created the group to serve a community with a need. It's the same thing with a business. People create a business to serve a need. So for example, like if I go to Starbucks, right? I go to Starbucks because my need is coffee, and I go in and, I order my coffee and I pay them for my coffee because I need the coffee and they need my business, and we have this exchange, right? In the group, it's the same thing. The people who are in your group have a need, okay? And you created the group to serve that need. And it doesn't matter what the need is. Like, they have a need to be in there for whatever reason, or a desire, right? Or they like it. And there's nothing wrong with serving people who have a need and making money from it. Absolutely nothing. All right, so we're more than halfway through. Just a reminder, don't forget at the end of the presentation, I have a special offer only for you guys for hanging in. Okay, so number 5, collect email addresses to use for a regular newsletter. And I mean an e-newsletter. Do this even if you're not sure about monetizing. Really important. Collect email addresses when people join your group. This is one way to do it. There's a couple ways to do it, but this is the easy way to do it, and you can change this like right now, except for wait until this is over, okay? So you never know what can happen to the group, right? Even if you're not going to monetize, you never know what can happen to the group. And because if you end up building a business from it, email addresses are key. Now, you guys know, like, Facebook's been doing some wacky stuff lately. I don't know if you guys have been affected by it at all. I certainly have. I've been thrown in jail just, because I exist, and not allowed to post or do anything. And it's such a pain in the butt. And I've heard of also groups are sometimes just shut down with no recourse, just randomly shut down by Facebook. Sometimes there's a reason, sometimes they're not. Sometimes the reason makes absolutely no sense, and they go to Facebook and try to get it reopened, and it's not reopened. So if you take away one thing from this presentation, get those email addresses. Like, your group could be shut down tomorrow, okay? And if you have any interest in either monetizing or just continuing the group, if it were to get shut down, you're gonna want those email addresses, okay? So pay attention, write this down. So change your group questions. This is so easy. So that just one of them is for getting an email address for updates on group-related news and information. In my group, this is the 3rd question, so that people don't feel immediately sold to. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be the first question, because people who are joining are gonna be like, oh God, what does this person want from me, right? But if it's the 3rd question, it's kind of like, okay, I filled out the first 2 questions, I might as well fill this one out. Not everyone will give their email address to you, and that is okay. It's completely fine for them to say no. Like, how many times have you guys, been on a website of something that you like, and something pops up and they want your email, and you're like, not today. They can say that too. Totally fine. No one's offended, right? But you will find that at least half say yes. And again, maybe you won't be using these right now, but this is completely fine. Just keep them all in a Google spreadsheet for when you develop a newsletter and or for any future Facebook targeting. Now, that is another webinar for another time, Facebook targeting. But just trust me, you can Google it. It's something that you'll want if you ever want to do Facebook targeting. So here's some sample question text. Would you like to sign up for free widgets group news and events updates? Please leave your email address. So easy. Like, if you guys want to just, this is what I use. I don't use widgets because that's not my group, but this is the format that I use, and it works really well. And that's what gets me like about 50%, 50% of people giving me their email addresses. And you will never regret having these. Maybe you won't use them right now, but this is fine. Just keep them in that spreadsheet, whether it's Google or Excel. Just keep them for when you develop a newsletter or whatever else you're going to be doing. And one quick note, this is really important, and someone brought this up from a post I had done earlier. Be really careful to make sure that you get the email and you put it in your spreadsheet before you approve the person. So if a person is joining your group and they answer their questions and their email address is at the bottom, don't approve them until you copy and paste the email address. Really, really important. So I have a spreadsheet. I'm actually going to do something right now. I have a spreadsheet that I use that I keep everything in. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and I am going to create it for you to download as soon as I end this webinar. So just go to groupties.com/spreadsheet. I'll do a new slide. Can I do a new slide? Yeah, let me do a new slide. Okay, here we go. So I'm doing this on the fly, groupties.com/spreadsheet. All right, let me make this smaller for you guys so that it doesn't look so, oh God, come on. You know, and let's delete the subtitle. Okay, so go there, not right now, write it down, go there in like an hour, and I will create a downloadable spreadsheet for you guys so that you can see what I use. So I put all of my email addresses into my email marketing software, and there's a bunch of those out there. There's ConvertKit, Constant Contact, MailChimp, whatever. But this is when I use this spreadsheet, it makes it really easy for me to upload those. So yeah, I will create that for you. I'll share mine in about an hour, okay? Okay, on to number 6. I know I spent a lot of time on the email addresses, and this is part of the reason why. So the 6th strategy is to send a regular e-newsletter. Send out a regular, and by regular, I mean, you know, every day, every week, every month, like a scheduled e-newsletter with updates, news, or other helpful information related to your group and business. Now, I do recommend that you do this on a predictable, regular basis. So in my group, with my business, I sent this out every single week. I'm sorry, every single day. I send one out every day. Everyone gets one. It goes out at 6 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, and everybody gets the newsletter. But when you're first starting, you might not have enough information to send this out, and that's totally fine. So maybe you send out like a weekly review, which is really fun. Maybe you send it out on Friday, or maybe you send something out on Monday and you're like, oh, here's what's, you know, going to be going on in the group this week, something like that. I do recommend doing it predictably though. If you do it kind of like, well, sometimes it goes on a Wednesday and sometimes it goes on a Thursday and sometimes it doesn't go out for 2 weeks, that kind of doesn't prepare people and it doesn't make people look forward to it. But if it's regular, then they know. And here's some ideas for your newsletter. You could do a fun summary of the most popular posts in the group. You could have helpful information related to the group discussion. So say something came up in the discussion and there were lots of different resources or pieces of advice given. You could summarize that and put that in the newsletter. You could do blog-like posts on a website with your personal thoughts, opinions, or advice related to the group, of course. Like people might not want to know about your thoughts on, I don't know, brands of spaghetti sauce if their group is about cars. So I would make sure that it's semi-related or tied in somehow. Okay, number 7. Add a website related to the group. Whatever your group may be, they likely have needs for information and or referrals. Pretty much every group has this. Figure out what the group needs are. Chances are you already know what your group members need or want. Put together a website that provides more information or resources to help with those needs. So I'm going to just keep us on this slide for a second because this is really important and this is like the basis. So every group, almost every group, if your group doesn't have regular discussions or regular needs or things that they really want, then I'm not sure that this is for you, but most groups do. And it's not even just what their needs are, it's like what their likes are. Like, what do they like? What do they want more information on, right? Put together a website that gives them that. Maybe your group is all about memes. So you might want to put together like a fun meme website, you know, with your own meme generator or something, like something that they're going to connect to. If you're not sure, if you're like, oh my God, Melissa, I have no idea. Look for those frequent conversations and questions and common discussions in your group to get you started. Just comb through your group. Chances are you're going to see some common themes, right? I need this. I need help for this. I'm looking for this. Like, I love this. And chances are you're going to see those kind of common themes over and over again. Look for those to get started, okay? That is really going to help with the website. So for example, if it's a local group, people probably have a need for additional information about events and happenings in the community. And here's the great part. You know, we talked about that e-newsletter. Once the website is up, you can repurpose that website content in the e-newsletter. So say, you know, you put something on the website, maybe it's a post about, let's see, maybe it is a car group, right? And you're posting about, oh God, I don't know anything about cars really, but top brands of paint for antique cars. Okay, I don't know if this exists, right? So say you're like, okay, there's 5 really good brands of paint when you're fixing up antique cars, right? You can put that on the website as a post, and that goes out into the interweb, that goes out to Google, that goes out everywhere, right? And it lives there forever. Then you can take that content and put that in the newsletter. So right away, you've got this like dual purpose thing. You've got your content in 2 different places, all right? So once you create content, you can reuse it like over and over. I also recommend that you build your website with WordPress. Now there's a ton of different website software out there. There's Square and oh my God, I feel like I see a new one every single day. And you know, those might work for you, like if you're super familiar with them. But if you're starting from scratch, you're not a web person, my recommendation is WordPress. It's been around forever. It's really, really well loved. I'm a huge fan of using WordPress to build websites for its flexibility, low cost, and ease of use. And I also recommend that if and when you go with WordPress, you host your website off of WordPress.org. That means not on WordPress.org. Don't put it there. And here's the reason. Like when you first get started, a free WordPress.org site might work fine. But as you expand and you want to put more functionality into the site, it's not going to work because you can only get the benefits of WordPress plugins, which are these like little pieces of code that expand the functionality. When you cannot get the benefits of those when you build a free WordPress.org website. So I know it's tempting, but definitely don't do it. Plugins are so awesome. What the heck are plugins? That's my next slide. I'm like, man, what did I get off on a tangent? So plugins are these like tiny pieces of code that basically get your site to do cool things. So like adding a sign up box for people to sign up for your e-newsletter is one of the cool things that you can do with a tiny piece of code, which is a plugin. And like, once you start on this journey, there's so many different plugins out there that do so many different things. You could have your website built and then you could be like, huh, wouldn't it be cool if, right? So one thing I did, so I was like, I wanted to do something fun for the holidays. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could make snow on my website? So I go and I search the WordPress plugin directory, right? And I search snow. And someone had made a plugin to create snow on the website. Now, I know that's a little bit like 1998, but I loved it. And it was only for a day. But my point is, there's a plugin for almost everything. And a lot of them are free. Some of them are paid, but a lot of them are free. And so put your site on, self-host it someplace on WordPress, not WordPress.org, so that you can get your free snow plugin. So my recommendation for self-hosted websites is SiteGround. I've learned the hard way to go with SiteGround right from the beginning. Now, don't be confused by this, please. So I'm going to try not to make you confused by this. So your website has to live somewhere, okay? So there's like 3 different components to a website. I think there's 3. Oh yeah, so there's the domain name. So that's like www.yourdomainname.com. And then there's the hosting service, and then there's the content. So you can have a domain name. You can reserve that like right now if you felt like it. So say you have your group and your group's name is Supercar Lovers, right? You could try to go find the domain supercarlovers.com and just reserve that right away. But once you have that name, that's the address. It also needs a place to live. It needs a house. And the house is where it's hosted. So I really recommend SiteGround for hosting it for your house. And on SiteGround, you can also get a domain name. So say right now you leave this and you're like, I want to reserve the domain name. At least I want to do that, right? Go to siteground.com and plug your domain name in, see if it's available, and at least get that. And then once you want to build the site, you can reserve the hosting. You don't have to do it all at once if you don't want to. And to learn more about why I love SiteGround, visit groupties.com/SiteGround. And I will warn you that I just put this in and I have not put this up yet. It's going to be up in about an hour, just like the spreadsheet one. Okay, so give me like an hour and I will take care of that. Let me put that back on one more time so you guys can write that down. groupties.com/SiteGround, and I'll give you a lot more information about, I'm going to write this down, domain names, like the difference between that and a website, and why I prefer them. I actually went through like a horrible experience with another host, and so I would love for you to learn from my mistakes and just go with the right one right away. All right, we are on to number 8, so we're almost done. This is where it gets fun. Sell advertising in the newsletter and on the website. This is the crux of the business. When you have a high quality, useful, popular website coupled with a growing email list that goes out to your newsletter and a super popular Facebook group, you are ready to sell advertising. And the opportunities for ads, given all these different venues that you have in place, are totally limitless. I think up new things every single day. There's so many options for where and how you can sell ads in the e-newsletter and on the website. And I do go through all of these options in my course. There's so many. And like I said, since I wrote the course, I even came up with more. But I recommend when you first get started, and this is what I did, start with traditional web ads. You can start advertising with traditional web ads and expand to include myriad other advertising options. And what do I mean by traditional web ads? I mean like those banner ads, like at the top of the website where you see a banner ad, or sometimes it's on the sidebar. Start with those. They're very easy. And I was able, once I built the website and filled it in, like it's really hard to sell advertising on a website with nothing in it. So you have to, when you start your website, make sure it has stuff on it. Make sure you're regularly updating it, okay? Because you can't sell ads to a dead website. And I go over about like how to do that in the course, but you can't have a website that you don't update and expect to be able to sell ads on it. And you really need to have that newsletter going out regularly too, because if you're not, if you don't have an audience and you're not kind of in people's face all the time, then you're not going to have advertisers. But once that is set up, traditional web ads are a super great, super easy place to start. Okay. Oh my God, I need a drink. This is just water. I should have made a mojito. Okay. So when you monetize, everyone is still winning. Let's go back to that mindset thing. Okay. You're winning. Finally, you're winning because you or a cause you support. Like if you're doing this for a nonprofit thing, awesome, right? Either way, you or an entity are being paid for your work you previously did for free. Your advertisers are winning. You've given your advertisers this awesome gift of a pre-targeted group with which to advertise their business. This is so priceless and so much more efficient than shot in the dark Facebook ad targeting. You're giving your advertisers this group that they don't need to play with the Facebook algorithm. You've got them. They're pre-targeted. They're ready to go. Your group members are also winning. Members will still get every single one of the community benefits of the free group. Plus, they get to see businesses, often businesses that are explicitly asked for in the group that they might be interested in. And even Facebook is winning. So I know Zuck is totally watching this. But one of the primary reasons people spend time on Facebook is to visit your group. And I'm sure you've experienced this. I've totally experienced this. I've had tons of people join Facebook just to be in my group. That's the reason they joined, right? So Facebook still gets people spending time on their platform, and they can still put ads in front of those people, right? So they're still winning. You're helping Facebook even still. So this masterclass has been an overview of my strategy, and it's been kind of like the basic points. We're 46 minutes in. I could really do this for another 9 hours and 15 minutes, but I don't really want to. So you can take what I've given you, you can take this strategy and you can run with it. In my new course, Monetizing Your Facebook Community Group, I go through this entire process of how I do this, step by step, soup to nuts. I spent 9 months building the course and making sure I didn't miss a thing. And one of the people that took my course ahead of time was like, holy crap, you're type A. Yes, I am. I'm very type A. And I made sure that I didn't leave anything out, because what's the point if I leave things out, right? So here's what you're going to learn in the course, should you decide to go for it. I'll show you, regarding the website, all the information you need to set up a business website, including the exact WordPress theme, which is kind of like the blueprints for the website, plugins, which are those little pieces of code, and widget setup. You won't have to go through any of the extensive research or trial and error. I'll show you what every single page of your website should include, taking out the guesswork once the website's in place, so that you can start making sales right away once you launch, and it gives you an idea of kind of a starting place if you're really not sure. I also show you the best supplemental WordPress tutorials for your learning style, so that you won't get hung up or totally worried about the technology of the business. Regarding managing the business, I'll teach you how to find quality daily news content for the website, so that it's the place to be for both your community members and your potential advertising customers. I'll teach you how to set up a blog post in order for readers to get the most out of it, and in order for Google to notice you by moving your posts up in Google search list. One quick thing with my website, there's businesses in town where if people search on the business website isn't the first thing that comes up in Google. It's my website, which is awesome. I'll teach you how to transition your group from a free community to a resource that brands and businesses are excited to pay for exposure in. Branding. I know this is one of those confusing big words, but I'm going to teach you how to effectively brand your company, group, and website so people take you seriously and you can start being paid for what you built. I'll teach you all the graphics that you need so you can have an eye-catching, consistent, and professional-looking presence, and how to create those graphics. I'll also teach you what printed marketing materials you might consider to make your business presence even more attractive and visible when moving from online to in-person. Like if you host in-person events, or if you want to send things out physically in the mail, we can go over that. Regarding shifting your community group into a business, we'll look at how to shift your community from being a free-for-all community into a valuable resource where you're also making money. I know there's so many things. This course is really big and comprehensive. We'll also look at which supplemental social media outlets like YouTube or Pinterest you should consider to further expand your presence in order to get business from other platforms to book ads with you. We'll also look at how to diversify your content and business across other social media and digital venues without losing group members. So diversification is super important because, again, Facebook has a lot of control, and we want to take some of the control away from Facebook and put it back in your hands. I'll also teach you how to find and hire outside support to help with the things you can't do or just don't have time for, so that your time is freed up to focus on the things you love and the creative side. Regarding the ongoing marketing, I'll show you how to get customers and advertising sales, and how to get people to sign up for your daily email newsletter and visit your website. I'll show you how to set up automated marketing campaigns to keep sales coming in without always having to flood your group with sales promotions. I'll also show you initial advertising packages and options to run with so that you can start making income without spending time on creating the perfect packages, and that can take a ton of time. So if you're ready to launch a bona fide business from a community group, remove some of those eggs from Facebook's basket. They have too much control, and put them back in your own. Eliminate the guesswork about how to monetize your group, and embark upon a journey of freedom from working for somebody else and working in your dining room like me. Why not join me? Here's what you get. You get the main course, Monetizing Your Facebook Community Group. It's a full 10-hour course, including videos, supplemental course documents, and a special course website where you'll learn everything I just described. And then I made 2 bonuses because I felt like they were going to be super, super important. So if you have limited or no Facebook group experience, don't worry, I am going to provide this bonus. It's Introduction to Facebook Groups, and it will cover the difference between a Facebook group and a page and why you should use both in your business strategy. essential tips for your new role as a group admin, what to do if there's already a community group for your town or idea, how to get your new group's conversation going, how to get new members into your group, working with the Facebook algorithm for maximum exposure, leadership tips for group admins, using additional admins or moderators in your group. I need more water. A detailed run through of how to create a group on Facebook, just in case. I'll walk you through it. And what I wish I had known when I first started out as an admin, key tips to help you as you first begin. I also included this bonus, and this one is so important. It really could be a course of its own, because once you build your business, you need to be able to nurture your sales leads. Otherwise, you're not going to get your sales. So this mini course teaches you how to nurture your leads with my essential step-by-step email and phone call process, which is the key to increasing your sales. You can put your business together with a great website and ad funnel, but if you don't nurture your leads, you're gonna lose out on major sales. And unfortunately, I learned this the hard way. This process took me a while to figure out, so I'm sharing it with you so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. So this course took me nearly a year of my life to build. I started last November, it's now October. I've poured everything I've learned into the course so that you can take the easy route instead of learning through trial and error. And I know what it's like to be afraid to start something new. I also know what it's like to be on a limited budget, especially for a side gig. I also know what it's like to be a discouraged Facebook admin. So if you already admin a group and you're feeling taken advantage of by Facebook, as well as unappreciated by group members, I totally built this course for you. So I'm only charging $497 for the course. If you put everything into place that I teach you in the course, and once you have a large active group available, you should be able to make up the cost of this course within your first full month of business. And then if you sign up now, I give you 2 days to think about this. Use the code webinar10, and I'll give you an extra $50 off the course price. So thanks for hanging in for those who hung in. Visit groupties.com/course and get on your way to launching a business from a Facebook community group. Okay, there it is. Hang on. Questions. Okay, would you consider acquiring an existing similar group in a different city and roll the business model on it? And this is an awesome question. Yeah, I totally would, because the business model would really work for anything, I feel like. You know, like you could, gosh, you could use it on anything. I feel like as long as the group, it sounds like this group already might exist. So as long as the group already exists and it has like a lot of engaged people and there's a need. Remember, we talked about the needs in the group. So there's a need for something, like they're asking for something constantly. You could absolutely use this model. Definitely. I feel like it can work for just about anything, honestly. I feel like it could work for just about any group. And I got another question about how to price advertising. So I go into detail in the course about this, because this is definitely a tricky thing, pricing advertising. So here's what I can tell you. One thing that you could start with is, even if you don't do this model, you could start by selling the pinned post. And the formula I use for the pinned post is 1 cent per group member. So to charge for the pinned post for a week. So for example, like if you wanted to sell the pinned post space that everyone sees, and you say you have 1,000 people in your group, 1 cent times 1,000, I think that's 100. I don't know. No, it's 10,000. Okay, so if you have 10,000 people in your group, I'm sorry, my math is not good. 10,000 people in your group, and you want to sell that pin post, I would start from about $100 a week to sell that. Okay. But regarding the other things, the web ads, those are a little bit tricky. When you first start with your website, you have to make sure there's a lot of engagement so that people see the web ads. So, you know, like those top banner ads, if you have 2 people visiting your website at the beginning, right, when you first start it, if you have 2 people visiting your website every day, you can't charge $100 a week or even a month for that web ad, because no one's visiting the site. And I do go over in the course how to see how many people are visiting your website and how to make sure lots of people are coming to your website. So you can build that up really quickly. But if you're going to take this and run with it and you're going to start the website, you're going to have to wait until there's enough people looking at that site to be able to charge for that. And I'm trying to think of what a number might be on that. I feel like it might be, I don't know, around 5,000 hits a month, I would say, probably, before you can start charging something that's worth it. And the cool thing that will happen is once the website's out and once those ads are in place, like definitely put your website out and have the ads in place immediately. It doesn't even matter what the ad is for. Go and find an affiliate link and throw an ad up there so people can see that there's space for the ad. Because what does happen is businesses will see the website before you even start marketing that you're selling things. They'll see the website and be like, how can I get that ad? So once you start the website, super important, put those ads in place immediately. Like I said, even if it's an ad for you, you know, put them in place immediately. Okay, so another question. What strategy are you using to grow the membership of your Facebook group? So my group, this is a really good question. And I actually think I'm going to do a mini course on this. My group is, I don't really work super hard to grow my group because right now it's big enough. So there's a couple things you can do though. You can run Facebook ads to a group. Now, two things about that. The first thing is some people are allowed to do this and some people are not. And I don't know why some people are not and some people are, but there's a way around it. So say you could try this right now. You could go to Facebook and run an ad, a Facebook ad, and like have it go directly to the group and target people that you think would like your group. Okay, so that's one thing you could do. If you if you can't do that way, it's like I said, Facebook's very weird. They allow some people to target to a Facebook group and they don't. You just put the URL in, and then some people you don't. You could create a website or a landing page of some sort, and the only purpose of it is an introduction to a group and a link to the group. So people could click on that and then get joined to the group. So it's sort of like a stopgap. You could do that as well. The other things that I have heard are, which I don't do, but you could do, finding other groups that are similar, and if the admins are amenable to it, mentioning your group in there. Definitely using a connected page to your group. Everybody on this webinar, if you have a group, you should connect a Facebook page to it. I have a live video. It is on the Group Ties Facebook page. I have a live video on how to do that. You know what? I'm going to create another new thing. Give me an hour. It's going to be groupties.com. I'm writing this down. / Facebook page. Okay. groupties.com/Facebook page. Go there. And I will put the video there that shows you how to connect a page to a group, because once you do that, you can add tags on the Facebook page, right? You can add tags there, you can advertise from there, and you can mention your group on the page. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Okay, another question. How many people need to be in your group in order to, this is another one that's coming, in order for you to start doing this? So just to give you an idea, I started monetizing when I had 4,000 people in the group. So that's just my number. And they were super engaged. So I started monetizing with 4,000 people. I feel like that was a good number. But the important thing is, if you're starting and you have less people in your group, put these processes into place now. Because if you put the processes into place now, then your group will be prepared for if and when you decide to monetize. So that's really, really, really important. Obviously, if you have a really big group, awesome. Like, that's great. Okay. Another question. Does most of your advertising revenue come from the website, the newsletter, or the Facebook group, or another source? Oh, this is a good question. I feel like it depends. I think it depends on the month. the thing is in my system, they all work together and symbiotically. So it's not just the website. People on the website are in the group and they get the newsletter. So one of the things that I do with my advertising is I try to hit all three. Like for my advertisers, I produce packages that try to hit all three, because then you're going to get the best of both worlds. So for example, I don't know, say there's like a gym, and I put an ad on the website for the gym. Maybe it's a banner ad, and then I have some other special ad options that I go over that are also on the website. I actually have 2 other different ones. And then I might have another ad for that same gym in the newsletter, right? And then we promote the gym in the group. So this is like this multifaceted process. So I never really know exactly where the revenue comes from. Like most of my advertisers have packages like this. Most of them are not one-off. Most of them are not like, oh, I only want it in the newsletter, or I only want it in the website. There are some, but most of them are packages. And I think it's like, they're the most effective things. It's most important to have the package set up, because they're just going to get better results. They are, and then they're going to come back to you. So I think the package is super important. I would say for getting started, definitely start with the web ads first, and hopefully that will work out really well for you. All right, guys, so my kids are going to be back here any second. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to take the course, go to groupties.com/course and use the code Monetize10 for $50 off. And then also remember that I am going to be in the Facebook monetizing group. So if you go on Facebook, it's Facebook admins monetizing and strategizing your group. And you can definitely join me in there and we can chat some more. When you do sign up for the course, it comes with 30 days of coaching in a Facebook group. So you get 30 days of kind of like, I pop into the group, it's only for people taking the course, and we can chat further about specific pain points and troubleshooting and that sort of thing. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. I'm happy this worked out. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning, and I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Bye.